Crematory. We were the first crematory in Reno County. We were built, it was about 9 years ago. First one that was put in. And basically the process of cremation or cremating of the human remains is the reduction of the human body by intense heat. Sometimes between 1700 and 1900 degrees. The crematory that we use is a two-stage unit. It has the capability, it has a secondary burner that will basically serve, if you will, as a preheat mode. Flames are shot through their natural gas through the back of the crematory, heating up to 800 degrees. Once that heats up to 800 degrees, we're able to start the primary burner. We cannot start that burner until that preheat mode reaches 800 degrees. The cremation process generally takes up to about 3 hours. And once again, it's just the reduction by that intense heat, reducing the human body down to skeletal remains or bone fragments. At that point, when the cremation is finished and we allow time for the processor to cool, we remove the remains from the retort unit. We take then those skeletal remains or bone fragments and they're placed into a processor. That processor is basically a pulverizer to break up any additional larger pieces of bone fragment into what's commonly referred to as ashes. Kind of the technical or funeral related term is cremated remains or human cremated remains. What those are, once again, is more of a bone fragment, gravelly type substance. A lot of times if you've seen in the movies and on TV where the guy's standing on the edge of the boat or a cliff and he throws the ashes off and they just scatter into the wind. Once again, that's kind of a Hollywood portrayal of what takes place. It's a harder, more dense piece of bone. So we always make people aware of that fact, especially when it comes time for scattering, that you're not going to get the romantic Hollywood version of things floating off in the air. Of course, there are some dust particles, and of course it is a breakdown of the human remains. But you're going to get more of, say for example, if you dumped a bucket of gravel straight down to the ground. So we always try to make people aware of that's going to be what takes place. The cremation process, there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done, a lot of things that are taken care of prior to. A lot of times people will call us 2 in the morning. My mother's died. She wants to be cremated, but please don't cremate her right now. We want to see her. We want to take some time with her, which is fine. That's kind of a misconception that's just what happens is we go to the nursing home, we retrieve the body, and it's cremated right away. A lot of paperwork needs to be done in the state of Kansas. We need to get, number one, the death certificate signed by the doctor with the cause of death. That needs to be completed and sent to the coroner of the county, authorizing that cremation, along with a family permission slip saying, yes, I choose for my dad to be cremated. Or me and my 2 sisters choose for my dad to be cremated. So a lot of paperwork goes into that. Also, something that are precautions for cremation is it's a non-reversible process. It's kind of a no-brainer. Once somebody's cremated, they're cremated. So we have to take special precaution to make sure this is Joe Smith. We're going to make sure it's Joe Smith from the minute he's brought into the funeral home to the minute that he's placed in the cremation container, cremated, processed, put in an urn or a temporary container, whether it's chosen for burial, giving back to the family, whatever the case may be at that point, we're going to make sure that person is who they say they are, and we don't cremate Sally Jones rather than Joe Smith. One way that we do that, we keep our paperwork together with us at all times with that person. We keep the paperwork in here. We mark their name on the board. Every person is given an ID tag. Joe Smith, number 760. Came into the it's our cremation for Penwell Gable Funeral Home and Crematory. He's going into the crematory at 10:19 at 10:15 in the morning. That ID tag will go with him the entire time. It will be clipped to the retort. When we make the removal of the bone particles, that coin will stay with them. That coin will go with him to the processor. As soon as the cremated remains are processed, placed into the urn, this is attached inside the urn. We fill out paperwork signing who's authorizing the cremation, who is giving the ashes back to what family member. The family member needs to sign that I'm the one taking care of this funeral. Driver's license. We don't want to give Joe's ashes back to his ex-wife rather than his kids, because then those kids are going to turn around and they're going to own our business because they're going to sue us. So all of these steps take place during that whole process of the minute we get the body back here to the minute that the ashes are returned back to the family.